Hey guys, let's go ahead and take a look now at the new version of Vale G5. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with it, it's a special liquid coating that you can apply onto your vehicle, such as the headlights, the fog lights, the license plates, the grille. And the idea is it's actually going to weaken the reflectivity of those different parts of your car, so it makes it tougher for a LiDAR gun to actually get a reading off your vehicle. So the idea is when you have this applied on your vehicle, they shoot your car. The gun can't get a reading for a couple seconds. It gives you enough time to slow down. Your laser detectors are going off, and so you'll have enough time to slow down so that once the laser gun is able to get a reading off of your vehicle, you're already, slowed down, you're good to go, everything's fine. So that's the premise behind Vale. There's now a new version that's come out with it. The old version is Vale G4, which is the one that we see here on the left-hand side. This is a can of Vale G4. On the right side, we have a can of the new version of it, Vale G5, that was recently released. And then we've also got two sample license plates on the ground that we're going to be applying both of them to. In this video, I'm not going to necessarily be going too much into performance and kind of the theory and all the little nuances of Vale. We're mostly going to be talking about the application process and how easy it actually is to apply. There are some formula changes between Vale G4 and Vale G5. G4, I'd applied it on my last car, and I actually, you can apply it either with a brush. It does come with two foam brushes like these. And basically, you dip it in, and then you wipe it over the parts of the vehicle, right? There's another way of doing it, which I actually prefer, which is basically you pour Vale into a special spray gun, and then you can just spray it all over your car, kind of like you're spray painting, and it comes out smoother. There's less streaking and dripping and stuff, and I think it looks better, so that's what I did on my last car. There's been some formula changes now with Vale G5 to where it's actually thicker, so you can't really do that same technique. It doesn't work out as well. It kind of gets stuck, and it doesn't spray evenly, if well at all, through many spray guns. Now, the normal technique is to use those foam paint brushes. What I found when I applied Vale G4 is that it has a tendency of not going quite evenly, and it can be kind of tricky. Maybe if you're a skilled painter or something. I'm not. This is like the first time I've ever done anything like this, was when I started with Vale, right? So total noob at this. And I found it wasn't the easiest thing to get a nice, smooth, good-looking finish, which is why I went with the spray version. Now, the Vale G4 on the left, the older one, it did seem to work better. The newer one, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to apply as well with the foam brush. Now, this group of G4 and G5 was actually given to me by a friend. He is actually doing some testing, and he was actually the one who was telling me about the issues with applying with the brush and with the spray can. And so he was actually trying to get it to stick not to a license plate, but to a clear license plate cover, which is another recommended technique that you can do. Instead of spraying it right on the plate, you put it on a license plate cover and put the plate cover over the plate. Now, the issue was that it wasn't sticking very well with the brush or with the spray can, and his solution, I'll put a picture of it up on the screen, was to basically take the plate cover and just dunk it in a pool of Vale G5. He did that for about 2 minutes, and then took it out and left it out on the patio to dry, on the porch, and it took about 2 days to dry. Once he did, I'm going to show this to you, but don't freak out, because, yeah, you'll see. But once he did, it wound up turning a clear plate cover into this. Way too dark, isn't it? Like, there's no way that this is acceptable. And like I said, don't freak out. This is not a recommended method of applying Vale, but it's really good to see. The idea is you really only want to do one, maybe two light coats of Vale. If you put it on too thick, it's going to get way too dark like this. So this was awesome to see as far as experimenting, and I did run some tests with this yesterday, which I'll share here in just a moment, the results of that. But you can see that we're going to want to make sure that we have a relatively light coat, because we're going to want to make sure that our plate is visible, right? You don't want to have anything drawing negative attention in such a way to where you get pulled over. Why is your plate so dark, right? So we want it to be light and not that noticeable. And that was actually one of the goals of Vale G5, was to make it lighter than G4. It did have kind of a smoky tint, which could actually look kind of cool. I actually liked the look of it applied to my car. But one of the goals was actually making it lighter and also a couple other things like G4 on some cars had a tendency of actually cracking the headlights due to the formula, which it wasn't quite Vale's fault. There were a couple other products that would do the same thing, and there were recalls for the headlights and stuff. But one of the goals for G5 was to improve the formula to actually get rid of that. So it's actually now a water-based formula, so it's less detrimental to your vehicle, less damaging, easier to clean off. Like, there's been some improvements there, but anyways, for this video, to go ahead and just get into it, we're going to take a look at the application process. And the way we're going to do this is we've got 2 brushes here, 2 plates, and 2 cans of Vale. You can probably guess what we're going to get at, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to take the brush and I'm going to go ahead and apply, I'll start with the Vale G5, so that's the new one that we all want to see, right? I'll go ahead and start painting half of one of the license plates with G5, and we'll get to see how well that works. And then I'll also do the same thing with Vale G4 to see how well that works. One thing is, you'll notice the ground here, it's kind of dirty. We're on my back patio, and it's right next to the backyard where it's rain and dirt splashing up. Since I'm not too concerned with, like, doing a really good professional job, since this is just kind of more for illustrative purposes, if you do this, you're probably going to want to do it in an area where there's not a lot of dirt and bugs, that kind of stuff. When I applied it on my car, I was doing it actually next to kind of a construction zone, and there was all this like dust and dirt in the air, and it actually wound up getting stuck in the Vale. And same thing, if there's any little bugs flying around and they kamikaze into your Vale install, you'll get little chunks. I don't know how well it'll show up here on video, but there's like little bugs that have just kamikazed right into the paint, and it doesn't look so hot. It's not that great, and so you'll want to do it in an area where it's protected from the elements to some degree. So anyways, with that said, let's go ahead and start with applying Vale G5 to one of the license plates. Okay, and so here we are. We've got a regular normal plate, and we've got a can of Vale G5. You can see right there it says Vale G5. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and apply to half of the plate G5 and just see how well it does. This is also the first time I've opened it up. I haven't even actually seen what G5 looks like yet, so this is going to be new to me as well. What we're going to do is just clean off the plate real quick. Get a little bit of, handy dandy standard Windex. Now, there's kind of 2 ways that you could do this. You can apply it with the plate flat like this, which is how I've done it in the past, and it makes it kind of easy because you can get it on really evenly. And it also will prevent any sort of dripping where if you have it vertically. However, in a lot of cars, like your headlights or something, your headlights are probably going to be vertical like this, and so you'll put it and it'll actually drip down. And that's part of the blending technique, is as you start putting it on, the different streaks, or whatever you want to call them, the different swipes of the paintbrush will all start to kind of blend together. So that's kind of a good thing. And so it's kind of a balance between making sure all the brush strokes blend and also not having drops drip down like that and just making it look not so good. So again, I'm totally not a painter. This is not my area of expertise. I'm a noob, so I'm sure there's tons of you guys on YouTube who'll be like, oh, do this, do that, you'll do a better job. And if you guys know the ideal way of applying this, wonderful. Like, please let us know so that anybody who's getting this, it'll benefit us all, right? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply it relatively quickly, not like super fast, not Superman speed, but just kind of relatively fast, and just put it right on there. And let's see how it does. So drum roll. Let's go ahead and open up G5, and I've heard it's kind of smelly, so I'm kind of scared for this part. We'll see. But okay. I'm going to smell it. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. Not great. How do you describe that? I don't know. Kind of stanky, kind of painty. I don't really know like nail polish stuff too well, so I can't tell you, but it's not horrible, but whatever. It's livable. Anyways, okay, that's good. Glad to hear that. So anyways, let's just go ahead and take some of this G5 and see how it does. Okay, so we want to go ahead and just put some on like this. Let some of it run off. Okay. And let's start painting and see how it does. That's not going to work. I've heard some people mention that you may need to dilute it a little bit with water. Ah, crap. Sorry. Okay, so like I said, this is totally new to me too, and you guys are getting to see. All right, it kind of works. Can I maybe thin it out like that? trying to get it in between the letters too. Maybe like that or something. Hopefully once it dries, it'll come out looking better. And this is kind of too thick too. Maybe kind of weaken it, because obviously the plate needs to be visible. So, okay. That, get a little bit more. Kind of put some down towards the bottom. Grab a little paper towel here. Let's do that. Yay, see how much I know about painting? Yeah. Clean surface area. All right. And just kind of keep going. I don't know how to, I guess I'll just, how do I hold this and not get it everywhere? I don't know. We'll just do that. Okay, so we'll just, first of all, let's get it on all the spots, and then I'll kind of dilute it a bit so it's not so black, because that's, if you looked at that and you saw, hey, is there something on your plate? Yes. So, all right, let's try to maybe weaken it a little bit, and see how it's starting to get these kind of streaks there? That's kind of why I'm hoping if I hold it vertically like this, it'll kind of start to run down a little bit and blend better. So, let's see. Okay, that's there. That's way too dark. I've heard some people mention you can dilute it with water. It might be a good idea. It's supposed to make it a little bit easier to apply, but... So that's one layer. It's a relatively thick layer, and let's see if I can keep... That's not going to fly. That's way too frickin' dark. When I applied G4 to my car, it wasn't nearly this dark, but I did find that it kind of diminished my headlight output, so I wound up having to upgrade to HID headlights just to compensate for the dark. Okay, so how does that look? Not so great. Could put it next to our plate frame over here. See how it compares? So maybe not even that extreme as much as what I thought. So, yeah. Okay, I don't really know what to make of that. It did go on relatively evenly. There's like some little dots and stuff. Hopefully you can see that on camera. I don't know if they're bubbles or what, but I feel like I'm gonna have to start taking some off, because that's not acceptable in my mind. That's way too thick and way too dark. How do I get this? Okay. I'll just kind of start doing this a little bit and trying to dilute it. So again, I'm not really sure what the exact right technique is. I just kind of apply it to the brush and start going, right? So, start getting it off. Come on. Off, off, off. All right, starting to get off, and it is starting to come off, but now it's starting to get a little uneven, and hopefully it'll kind of blend itself back as it drips a little bit. But yeah, that's... Yeah, all right, well, Vale G5 application. You be the judge as to whether or not that's cool. I don't know. Okay, well, we'll let this sit for now. And let's just do the same exact thing with Vale G4 and see how that works. Okay, and next we're going to go ahead and work with the older version of Vale, Vale G4. This is the previous one, which has been out for a little while now. We've got another fresh plate over here while the G5 plate is over there drying. And since it actually came with two brushes, the big one, which I've already used for G5, and then this smaller one, I'm going to use the smaller one for the G4 just to, you know, obviously not mix and match different types of Vale. So it is a smaller brush, going to take more strokes, but whatever. So go ahead and start us off. You can see the plate is a little bit dirty, so let's go ahead and clean it off real quick. Okay, cool. So now we have a freshly cleaned plate of Vale, or of a plate of plate, not freshly cleaned plate. Okay. And then what we're going to go ahead and do next is go ahead and apply Vale G4 to this guy. Okay, there we go. So, got some Vale in there, as you can see. Also smells not quite as bad. Still a smell to it, but not as bad. Not that terrible, but still probably want to do it outside. You know, don't do it in your living room. Yeah. All right, and let's get started. Okay. Yeah, this one definitely looks more liquidy. It's not quite as thick, so remember how the other one was like dripping off the brush? This one, it's already clear. Okay, that's cool. Kind of bubbling, but definitely lighter this time around. And yeah, see, it does drip down like that a little bit. And because it's more liquid, see how it actually gets in between the letters better? I like that. Probably still too dark. I mean, it might lighten up a little bit as it dries, but instead of putting a second layer, let's kind of start to weaken this one a little bit. See if I can dilute it a bit. Okay, and then these streaks will probably start to kind of come out just with gravity. It'll blend a little bit better. But as you can see, this is definitely getting lighter, and this is a much better look. Not nearly as, you know, crazy, dark, obvious as G5. G4 does seem to be better. Okay, maybe something kind of like that. See how that looks? We'll give it a little bit of time for gravity to do its thing. But yeah, it looks like it's a little bit lighter up here, just kind of the way I've painted it or something. Maybe the brush is easier to get across there and get stuck on the letters a little bit. Now let's keep going a little bit with the letter area. I want to make it not as dark. Kind of come out, come out. Kind of streaking, not pretty, so let's see if we can maybe pretty it up. See how it's actually more liquidy, so it's blending better? Even though I get the streaks, if I let it sit for like a couple seconds, it just kind of drips down a little bit, and I really like that. It just helps make everything smoother. So you can also, again, use a spray gun and just kind of spray it on, and that'll work even better. But in terms of application, this one definitely seems to be doing a better job. There are kind of some bubbles in here that you can see. I'm not exactly sure why that is. Maybe that's just gunk, and maybe I like really need to clean the plate. I just kind of gave it a quick clean or two with Windex. So maybe you really want to scrub it down to get all the dirt and stuff off. That's just my guess. Again, I'm not an expert at this. I'm just kind of running through the basics. But there you go. There's a look at an application with Vale G4. And then we would just want to let it sit out for a little while and dry and see how that's going. For the sake of reference, I've got my G5 plate over there that's also drying. And let's take a look at it now side by side so we can compare. And so here's a look at Vale G4 and G5. We've got G4 up there on top. You can see it's definitely lighter. The plate is more legible. It is grayed out and kind of a smoky look. G5 we have there on the bottom. It's going to be much more blacked out. I mean, take a look at the word California, for example, and like how legible it is on G4 versus on the bottom with G5. Like, huge difference. And same thing with the URL on the bottom, the dnv.ca.gov. I mean, huge difference. How legible is the plate numbers, which is really the big thing. Big difference. So yeah, would I recommend G5? At this point, I really don't think so. It's just too dark in practice. I mean, if you take a look at that, not good, man. Not good. So anyways, there you go. For you guys who are curious, there's a look at the application of both G4 and G5 on, clean license plates. That's how they look. That's how they appear in practice. And that's how easy they are to apply. Not too bad in my experience with a brush. It does go on pretty evenly, but legibility becomes a big concern. And then obviously performance in practice is a big deal too. So anyways, there you go. There's a look at G4 and the new Vale G5. Hope that's been helpful. Thanks.